In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Nilanjay Ghura, and he's heading over from the folks over at Sorwe. And essentially, what Sorwe is doing, they help organizations just like yours to improve the work culture. It's basically a people-first employee experience platform, and it's all about driving engagement and performance, even through mobile. So let's talk about Sorwe today. Welcome, Nilanjay.
Thank you, Lucas, for the introduction of Sorwe, and thank you for giving a quick intro about Sorwe as well. And as you said, that is correct. So Sorwe is a platform, or I will say a software, that allows the modern generation of HR professionals to improve their workplace culture by building a digital employee experience, automating a lot of tasks such as, employee onboarding, creating employee engagement surveys, gathering all the data, analyzing stuff, and then making decisions for better workplace culture. So this is all is possible through our one app, which is the Sorwe app. And the best part about our app is that we have a mobile feature, like basically a mobile version of the app, so that each person in the company can see what is happening in their organization through the Sorwe platform.
Very succinct, very clear. Now tell us about, which types of organizations would leverage Sorry? Like, is there a certain scale that they need? Is there certain industries where it fits really well? Maybe tell us a bit about that.
Honestly, Sorve is for all those organizations who really, put their workplace culture first. They really want to, attract and retain talents in the organization. They want to give a good culture to their people, right? They want to have a happy workplace environment. So there's no specific, company, which I will say, or industry, I will say, where Sorve fits. Sorve fits in every industry, wherever, the top managers of the company are interested in building a good culture. So Sorve is for everyone, no limitations, and there's no minimum employee requirement or maximum requirement. Anyone can take advantage of it.
Okay, that gives us a very good insight. Now, who would you say is typically the individual within the organizations that brings, survey into the conversation? Is that like an HR manager? Does it come from the operational side? Does it come from the C-suite? Like, who's raising the head and the hand, and who are the champions for survey?
So it's a good question which does not have a clear answer, because in some organizations, let's say if we talk about middle level organizations or small organizations, it's mainly the senior HR managers who, sort of bring Sorve onto the table to their bosses. But sometimes in a bigger organization, it's the C-suite who actually, takes interest in such a platform, because they have responsibilities from, their own criteria that they need to meet, and they would like to take advantage of the technology as much as possible to automate their tasks so that they can achieve their end goals as an HR team.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say, like, those folks, those senior, for example, HR managers, how do they learn about you guys? Like, what's their journey looking like? What are the channels or the acquisition channels you guys leverage?
So we are a mixture of inbound and outbound. So we have a 50-50 thing. And especially our journey sort of looks like more like a value-based journey. So it's not like we are trying to sell them directly. We sort of, promote a lot of valuable content around building an employee experience, why employee engagement surveys are important, why there should be a feedback culture in the organization, and all those content. And after promoting all these content, we, put them to a user journey in the company, so that we keep on maturing them at each stage, and then the end goal is to basically introduce Sorve to them and say that, hey, you can achieve all those that we have shared with you using our software easily, and we are there to help you out in achieving those goals that you have set for yourself.
Very good. Now, what role would you say does the website play in their journey? Like, getting to know you guys. How do you, as a growth marketing manager, think about the website?
See, for me, I always think website is like another salesperson for your organization, because it should be, so a website should be something which should be, sell by itself. I don't have to do a lot of things. Once I bring the traffic there, then it should, help the person make decisions by themselves. And I play a huge emphasis on website, especially, for example, Sorve has a good presence in Turkish region, right? In Turkey, we are pretty good. We get a good amount of traffic from there. So my main focus is to always making sure that my website is to the mark and helping people to make decisions by themselves before, I have to intervene an SDR or a salesperson to help them make that decision. So we get a lot of interesting, demo requests directly from our website. And I must say, a huge amount of our sales efforts are reduced just because of that, because our website is so powerful in terms of, convincing people that, hey, I'm happy to, request for a demo meeting.
Very cool. I mean, let's stick on that for a moment. I mean, every
Sure.
marketer I had on the show so far, they always, I mean, even though if the website performing well, there's always some room for improvement, right? What do you consider sort of the main strength of the website as it is today versus where do you see maybe room for further improvement?
So I will say there's always improvement in terms of content, right? You cannot have same content on the website for years. You need to keep on adapting as the things changes. So right now, the content that we had has been there for almost 1 to 2 years. It is working, but my emphasis is always to keep on, optimizing content one page at a time. For example, my goal for next year is to optimize my blogs and improve the user experience on it so that they also become like the next sales mechanism in my journey. Right now, the main website is doing fine, but once again, there is no, limitations to how much, conversion rate optimization you can do on the website. So my focus is right now to improve my blogs as well, so that I sort of boost my demo meetings with my entire website structure.
Yep, makes complete sense. Very, very interesting topic. Is there anything that you've learned over the years, when it comes to sort of, you mentioned the conversion rate optimization, any approaches, methods, way of thinking that you've picked up over the years that you think is quite helpful in driving up conversions?
Yes. So one, rule that I always follow, or principle that I always follow, whether it's any sort of marketing, whether website or somewhere, is to keep things simple as much as possible, not making things complicated, not putting a lot of, call to actions on the website that only those buttons are visible rather than the content that you want to share. So I've seen a lot of times that, people in the name of optimization try to put a lot of lead magnets, pop-up forms arising everywhere. But I like to keep things to minimal. If my content is good, then people will automatically will fill up the CTA, whether it is at the bottom of the page or at the top of the page or it appears in the middle. So one of the principle is that keep things simple. The design should be mobile friendly. No matter what happens, I always check mobile first and then desktop, because I know desktop version always looks good, but mobile version is something that you need to make sure that things are easy to read. If there's an image which is, on the desktop is looking good, it's not all the time that it's also going to look good on the mobile. So it is really important that whatever you create on the page or whatever you create on the blog, it should be mobile friendly first and then desktop friendly. And whatever CTAs you are planning to do that, make sure they're not an irritation when someone is visiting the page through a mobile.
Makes tons of sense. Very, very good. Now we spoke about the product, right? We spoke about who's getting most value from Sorwe, and basically also how you're thinking about the digital journey in the end, and then conversion optimization. I would love to switch gears a little bit and talk about your journey as a marketer. I would have some rapid fire questions to slowly wrap it up for today. Are you ready for those?
Yep, all the best to me.
Very good. So, what would be the last book or the last podcast that you read or listened to?
Okay, so the last book that I actually read was The Psychology of Money. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the author's name, but it's a pretty famous book, so I'm sure people will understand. But that was my last book because I wanted some help in finances, understanding personal finance and how to have a mentality around finance.
That I think I was just picking it up here in Morgan Housel. Might that be the
Yeah,
one?
that's correct. That's correct. I'm really bad with author names, so sorry, guys. So I remember the book
No
name.
worries. No worries. What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
It is basically improving customer journey uh, from A to Z. So basically, we believe to the fact that a smooth customer journey should always be put first. That people should not face any problem when they are onboarded, when they are fully onboarded, they are using the software. Whatever problems they are facing, they should be immediately be resolved, because the more we solve them as soon as possible, the better impression it creates as a company towards our customer, that okay, this company is good in what they're doing.
Very good. Now, if there would be no boundaries in tech, what would be the one single thing that you would fix for your role as a growth marketer? So if you have a magic wand, what would be the one single thing you would fix?
I would definitely fix myself in terms of mindset. Sometimes, when you want to achieve targets, you become a bit cranky, I will say, and in marketing or any field, I will say patience is really important. Patience and self-discipline. So self-discipline is something which keeps on going, but you also need to be patient and understand that no matter how much efforts you put in achieving something, there are a lot of external factors that actually, come into the way and stop you from achieving what you want. In that scenario, all you can do is be patient and just, keep on putting your efforts without having without overthinking, I will say, and just focus on data, understand what the data is saying, don't take assumptions, and keep on moving forward based on that.
Very good. And for the very last question, I'd like to do a little bit of time travel, right? You graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce, right? And headed off into the world of business. So what I'm curious is, if we go back to that days, right? You're wrapping up university now. What would be the one advice that you would give yourself for your journey as a marketer?
I will say that things doesn't work as you plan out. As you see, I graduated as a commerce. My aim was to become a chartered accountant, but then life happened, and here I am after 5 years sitting as a growth marketer in a technological company, which I didn't even thought about. I started as a digital marketer, then I shifted to growth marketer, and that into a B2B space. So nothing went as per plan. It all went with the flow, and all I can say to myself is that it is okay. You don't have to worry if your plan is not working, because probably that was not meant for you. Just keep on trying out things, because I'm a person who doesn't really know today as well that what I want to be next year or what I want to be in 30 when I turn 30, right? So I'm just going with the flow, enjoying the moment, and just seeing where life takes me.
Very cool. Nilanjay, I really appreciate you joined us today for the Pathway Presents podcast. I want to give you basically the very last word, right? If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed today about Sorwe, what's the one single thing that people should remember?
About the company or about the me?
About the company.
That put your people first. No matter what you do, at the end of the day, the company's growth depends upon the people your teammates, your employees who are working for that company day in and day out to bring in results, right? So always put them first. Try to align your goals and company's goals together, like basically your teammates' goals and company's goals together, to make sure that they have one goal to achieve. And yeah, just be people first, I will say. So we say, people first platform. So the company should also be people first, because in my own principle, one of my principle is that, a human resource, basically a human, can either be your greatest asset or your biggest liability. So you need to understand whether you want to have your human resource as a liability or as an asset. It all depends how you treat them.
Very good. So, no, appreciate that. So, Nilanjay, thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Thank you so much, Lucas, for having me.